Good morning, Electrical Culture of Safety Line Team. Welcome to another episode here. This is going to be 060 with Mr. Brandon Wiley. He is the Director of Training with Quanta Services in the Southeast region of Quanta Services. And we welcome you all here. Today it's a little cold, it's sunny. It's December the 12th, 2024. And just real quick, if you're missing any episodes of our Lineman Safety National Webinars, now today will be 60 episodes. Just contact me at safetytraining@bierermeters.com and I'll send them to you. If you're looking for a particular topic, you're welcome to go to Electrical Culture of Safety and hop on and look at the promos for all the speakers and their topics and pick and choose what you want me to send you. If you want all of them, that's fine. Just email me and let me know. There's no cost. We've been doing this this February will be our 3rd anniversary, and started with Mr. Danny Rains with 002 Electric Systems Grounding, and it's been an amazing ride now with about 14,000 plus partners, line team partners in Electrical Culture of Safety. And I appreciate everybody that has been giving their time, sharing their expertise freely so that we are fostering a nationwide grassroots line team. And Mr. Brandon Wiley, he was here about 2 years ago. I didn't realize it was been so long with number 14. And his was why? The biggest question, the most important question. And since then, that's when he was with Northwest Lineman College. Now he's over with Quanta Services, working with them. And today he's going to bring you a great topic. It's going to be very powerful, and it might make the room silent from time to time, because this is a topic that's going to hit at home. And we must listen to these words and what he's going to share with you. And it's called a moral obligation. That's it, moral obligation, leadership's responsibility to protect. Dang, this is a good one. And this is something that we need to share, and we need to train up and learn these skills with one another. And appreciate it, Mr. Brandon, for being here all the way from Georgia. And dude, hey, Brandon, man, hey, you got to get going, man. What the heck?
Now?
Yeah, now.
You said 9:30.
No, 9 o'clock, bud, for like months. Come on, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's get it going. Okay.
You have my clicker?
I don't have your clicker.
Oh.
There it is, right there. Come on, man. Got to get with it, Brandon.
Like Brent said, we're talking about the leadership thing, and so let's see. So I'm the director. I do line work. So hang on a second. Hey, what's up? No, I'm not busy. What's going on? Oh, really? Which stand were you in? Dang, man, I've been hunting that deer for weeks. Send me a picture of it. Dang, I can't believe you killed that deer. So, all right, so like I said, safety first. Shortcuts, those are not good when you take those. Give encouragement and stuff. And make sure that you're doing all the things that you're supposed to do. Personal accountability, that's really one that we'll talk about. So make sure that you're killing it. Okay. So what are you thinking right now? Are you thinking, good Lord, man, where's the professionalism? Are you not ready? Why didn't you start on time? Were you not ready to go? Silence your phone. Have you ever experienced that, where maybe you're doing a job briefing and somebody takes a phone call, walks away, don't take the call, take it serious? Are these the same things that you expect out of your employees? Because this presentation today is really going to talk to the leadership. And I'm talking everything from CEOs, directors, superintendents, supervisors, all the way down to the crew foreman and everywhere in between. That's the focus of today's meeting. Is this what you expect out of your employees? But is it also the same things that you expect, that your employees expect out of you? Because they're looking at you for leadership and they're looking at you for guidance, and your nonverbal can also influence them. So I had when I was with Electric Cities of Georgia and I was doing a lot of safety presentations around the state, I had a utility that I would go to, and there was a guy that would sit in the back of the room with his feet up on the desk, just like I was there, looking at his phone or looking down. He usually wore sunglasses, and he never paid attention. So what I noticed is, as they got more apprentices in, they started doing the same thing. He didn't say anything, but his nonverbal body language told them, this is not important. You don't need to worry about this. So supervisors, do you get involved with the crews and support them? Do you show up? Do you show this level of professionalism that I displayed here earlier, or do you lead by examples? So we're going to talk a lot about a moral obligation today and what that means, and leadership's responsibility to keep your crew safe. So this is not really going to be this touchy-feely, happy times, everybody's doing great type presentation. This is going to go further than that. And what I've noticed is that when I go to conferences and those sort of things, and I hear other people, they say a lot of things like, we've got to fix this, or we've got a problem here, or what are we going to do about this? And they ask this open-ended question, and there's a lot of talk at conferences of, we've got a problem with grounding, or we've got a problem with phones, or we got a problem with whatever it is, but there's usually not solutions that go with that. We just talk about it. We just talk about it. We got problems. We got all these things that are going on. Okay, we all know that. So what are we going to do about it? We need to start giving solutions to these things. So some of the outcomes that I want to get to today: mastering communication of safety and procedural changes, learning strategies to convey procedural updates and safety initiatives to the crews effectively. We're going to talk about methods to secure crew buy-in, because that is such an important thing. We see it all the time. We see it with training. We see it with safety. Safety professionals and leadership talks about this safety game and all this regulations and OSHA and NESC and all that stuff. But does it get to the crew level? Does it get down to the crews, and do they buy into it? Or do they go, man, this is just another bunch of crap that we have to do? Do they really buy into it? Do they believe in it? And fostering that culture of commitment to safety and continuous learning. Understand the critical impact of your leadership role in shaping a safe, accountable, and high-performing environment. Because we live in a pretty fast-paced world, and we work in an industry that's pretty fast-paced. More and more demand. When somebody's power is out for more than 5 minutes, they're jumping up and down and screaming and yelling. They're calling us all kind of names. So there's a lot of pressure out there, whether it's perceived pressure or legitimate pressure. So I'm going to play a video here, and this is one of my favorite authors. I pattern a lot of things that I do in my role after this man and his philosophies. So it's Simon Sinek. He wrote the book called Start With Why. He also wrote a book called Leaders Eat Last. So if you haven't heard of either one of those two, I strongly advise you to look those up, take those things that he says, and use them in your leadership role. So I'm going to play this video here, and then we'll continue on.
There are two things that I think that great leaders need to have: empathy and perspective. And I think these things are very often forgotten. Leaders are so often so concerned about their status or their position in an organization, they actually forget their real job. And the real job of a leader is not about being in charge, it's about taking care of those in our charge. And I don't think people realize this, and I don't think people train for this. When we're junior, our only responsibility is to be good at our jobs. That's all we really have to do. And some people actually go get advanced educations so that they can be really good at their jobs, accountants or whatever, right? And you show up and you work hard, and the company will give us tons and tons of training how to do our jobs. They'll show us how to use the software. They'll send us away for a few days to get trained in whatever it is that we're doing for the company. And then they expect us to go be good at our jobs. And that's what we do. We work very hard. And if you're good at your job, they'll promote you. And at some point, you'll get promoted to a position where we're now responsible for the people who do the job we used to do, but nobody shows us how to do that. And that's why we get managers and not leaders. Because the reason our managers are micromanaging us is because they actually do know how to do the job better than us. That's what got them promoted. Really what we have to do is go through a transition. Some people make it quickly, some people make it slowly, and unfortunately some people will never make that transition at all. Which is we have to go through this transition of being responsible for the job and then turning into somebody who's now responsible for the people who are responsible for the job. And as I said before, one of the great things that is lacking in most of our companies is that they are not teaching us how to lead. And leadership is a skill like any other. It is a practicable, learnable skill. And it is something that you work on. It's like a muscle. If you practice it all the days, you will get good at it and you will become a strong leader. If you stop practicing, you will become a weak leader. Like parenting, everyone has the capacity to be a parent. Doesn't mean everybody wants to be a parent, and doesn't mean everybody should be a parent. Leadership is the same. We all have the capacity to be a leader. Doesn't mean everybody should be a leader, and it doesn't mean everybody wants to be a leader. And the reason is because it comes at great personal sacrifice. Remember, you're not in charge, you're responsible for those in your charge. That means things like when everything goes right, you have to give away all the credit. And when everything goes wrong, you have to take all the responsibility. That sucks, right? It's things like staying late to show somebody what to do. It's things like when something does actually break, when something goes wrong, instead of yelling and screaming and taking over, you say, try again. When the overwhelming pressures are not on them, the overwhelming pressures are on us. At the end of the day, great leaders are not responsible for the job. They're responsible for the people who are responsible for the job. They're not even responsible for the results. I love talking to CEOs and say, what's your priority? And they put their hands on their hips all proudly and say, my priority is my customer. I'm like, really? You haven't talked to a customer in 15 years. There's no CEO on the planet responsible for the customer. They're just not. They're responsible for the people who are responsible for the people who are responsible for the customer.
So think about that. Are you the kind of leader that you're just going to take over? You're going to tell them every single move to make, and when they mess up and they don't do something the way you wanted them to do it, you're like, get down here, I'll get up there and do it myself. Or do you actually take the time to go, hey, these are my expectations. This is how I'd like to run my crew. Let's all talk about this together. Let's have a really detailed job briefing. And do you understand? Do you understand? Do you understand? No, I don't understand. Okay, well, let's stop. Let's go back. Let's back up. What part of it don't you understand? Let's start over and make sure everybody's on the same page. And then when something happens like we all know is going to, do we get them all back together and say, okay, plans changed. I want everybody to be on the same page and make sure of that. Are you leading your people or are you trying to manage them? Because there's a big difference between a leader and a manager. I'm not talking about your job title. Your title may have manager in it. Not worried about that. You're still a leader of people. So one thing that I heard, and an ex-boss of mine, John Beasley, said this, and it has really resonated and stuck with me. You manage the process. If you have a job to build, you have lines to build, you manage that process from start to end, but you lead the people in your charge. You are there to lead them and make sure that they are safe and productive and effective, but you're managing the workflow of the job. Some of you may have seen this before. This is back to Simon Sinek and what he does. This is why do you, start with why. You start with that inner circle of why. Why do you do what you do? And I'll tell you why I do what I do. Because I believe that powerline work can be done safely and it can be done efficiently. Notice I didn't say fast, I said efficient, because efficiency leads to speed. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast, those sort of things. And I believe that I can help. And that's why I do this, because I believe that if I can touch one person and I can help one person be safer and go home at the end of the day, I've done my job. And I'm going one at a time. So here's the problem kind of as I see it. What we say and what is happening doesn't always match up. We say a lot of things. We get in these leadership meetings, we go to these conferences, and we say a lot of things. We have these big storm events. And throughout my career, I've been involved in mutual aid, storm restoration, those sort of things. And we have these meetings. We have these leadership meetings. We get the safety professionals together. We get the crew leaders together. We get the superintendents or the supervisors together, and we get in a room. We talk about all this stuff. We talk about safety. We talk about grounding. And then the crews go to work. Did they ever hear what was said in that meeting? Now, granted, you can't have 2,000 people in a meeting. That's not efficient. So you have to get those leaders in the meetings. It's their job to get the message to the crews. So if we're having these meetings and we're taking the time to do this, then those leaders need to get out with their crews and go, this is what we talked about. This is the expectation. The expectation is that you're going to install grounds 100% of the time. You're going to wear gloves. You are going to cover up anything that's energized. You're going to do those things. This is how we're going to work, and make sure that they understand it. You know, we've done a really good job over the last couple of decades with slips, trips, and falls, cut hands, minor injuries. We've done a really good job with that. And that statistically, if you look at it, it's declining steadily from the 90s to today. But you know what's not declining? That line of fatalities. It stays constant year after year after year. It stays constant. So where has our focus really been? Where's the push really been? And I was at a conference one time, and I had my phone out, and I was kind of walking, looking at something, and I had somebody come up and correct me on it. And I politely said, "Thank you very much." But is that really our focus? Is that what changes lives? If I trip and fall and I get back up and dust myself off, maybe I got a sprained knee a little bit. Maybe my arm hurts. But is that going to change my life? What changes our lives is the serious life-altering injuries. When people lose limbs, when people are no longer able to function like they were before, they are no longer in this world, and now their family has to deal with their loss. That's changing lives. Why are we not really focusing in on that? And we are, but are we doing it effectively? Because that line is still the same all the way across. And that's part of what the capacity model is with Quanta Services. Is yes, we do care about the slips, trips, and falls. We do care about the cut hands. We care about that. But we want to make sure that we have zero fatalities, zero life-altering injuries that take people out of the industry and change their lives forever. And we want to build in capacity for when people fail, and I've failed many times. I failed today, and I'm going to fail tomorrow. And when it happens, there's capacity built in there to make sure that they don't have a life-altering or life-changing event. So for safety folks, stop going out there and measuring the distance between their dang road cones or only looking at their wheel chalk on their truck and not worrying about what they're doing up in the air with not enough cover on the line. Those things matter. The wheel chalk is a thing, but when you go out there and we focus on that and we chastise the crew and we get on them about it, how do they react to that? Do they think, God, that's all you care about is that wheel chalk? That's all you care about is the distance between these two road cones? That's it? We need them to trust us, to respect the safety profession, and to seek out guidance when they have those jobs that are tough, to call safety out there and go, hey, I want to make sure that we do this job safely. What do you think about this? What do you think about this pole that we're going to have to change out? And call them out there to help us, because we are leaders. That's what we are, and that's what we're expected to do. So let's talk about what a moral obligation is. It is a leader's moral obligation is an ethical responsibility to protect the physical, emotional, and psychological well-being of their team members. That is the definition of a moral obligation. To value human life over productivity. Now, we all know that being productive and completing jobs and meters turning, all of those things are what pays us. So you have to be productive. But you're going to hear me say this a couple of times today, balance. The balance between productivity and safety. Because it's there, you can do both. You don't want to get too heavy on either one. You want to balance. So leading by example, not being in a chair with your feet up, looking at your phone during an important meeting. Empowering the workers to act safely. One of the most impactful things that I've had happen in my career, I was doing a safety meeting at a utility in Georgia, and I was talking about the leadership giving the crews permission to work safely. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? You have to have permission to work safe. You do. You actually do. Because when the mayor's house is out of power, or a board member or somebody that's really influential in the community, when their lights are out and they're calling up their friends that are high up in the utility and going, hey, I need my lights on. And then you get that pressure down to the crews. You need to go get Brent's lights on. He keeps calling. Well, are you asking them to do something unsafe just to get that person's lights on? And this director of the utility stood up and he said, I don't care whose power is out. I don't care if it's the mayor. You do your job safe, I'll worry about that. You have my permission to do your job safely and forget about all the noise. I'll handle that. So you prioritize safety over the goals and the deadlines. If you're not able to get a job done because it's not safe, then you just don't get it done today. You move on. You find another way. There's always another way. You foster trust and support. Going back to that, what I talked about before, that you need the trust and support of the crews. So even though the men and women on your crews are not children, you should feel the same basic instinct to do everything that you can do in your power to keep them safe. That's the moral obligation. Because anybody that has kids understands that. You feel that instantly. As soon as that child is born, you instantly feel that obligation to make sure that that child is going to be safe. And when there are things that are risky, you don't let them do it. I heard Rod Courtney say this a few weeks ago at a conference, and he was talking about if you have a large crane up on a hill and you have to drive it down this steep embankment to get it out of where it is, would you let your son or daughter do that? Or would you, as their parent, go, I'll do it. You step back, I'm gonna do this. So if that's the case, why would you let a first-year apprentice drive that crane down the hill? Why would you let that young person do something that is really risky that maybe they're not ready to do just because? So another way to think about it, and kind of what would you do type situation, is how much would you cover if your child was in the bucket with you? So you have a 3-phase pole, and you're going to have to go up, and you're going to have to change an insulator, or you're going to change the arm, or whatever it is. And you're collecting your hoses, and you, on a normal day, you would go, give me 4 line hoses and 2 blankets, and I'll just cover up the minimum. But if your kid was in the bucket with you, how much would you take? And usually the answer is all of it. How much would you cover? I'd cover everything. Okay, do that. Do that every time. Another thing, how would you react if you caught your child working on energized lines with little to no cover? Your kid's up there in the bucket, and you pull up and he's got 2 line hoses up there on a 3-phase line. Would you stop it? Would you go, get down here now? You're going to cover the rest of that up. You're going to do it safe because I care about you and I don't want you to get hurt. As a crew leader, are you doing that for your linemen and your apprentices? Are you telling them, no, you're not going to use the minimum. You're going to cover it up like you need to? Would you have the same reaction if it was someone on your crew or someone on another crew? If you pull up to another crew and they're up there doing that, would you have the same reaction? Would you make sure that you stopped it? Because apprentices and young linemen being put into dangerous situations before they have enough experience and they're ready is a problem that we have. And we hear it over and over again, and guys move around a lot to different companies. They're all the time jumping. So they go from one company to another, and they say, and then they want to say that they have more experience than they have. Are you making sure that you know how much experience, how skilled is this person before you put him on a crew? Because that's your moral obligation. If he says, I'm a journeyman lineman, and you go, all right, there's your truck, go to work. You told me you're a journeyman lineman. I expect you to get up there and change out this 3-phase junction pole. Did you verify that they know what they said they know? Because that's important. This one may touch a few of you. So we've heard this before, and it keeps getting said, I am my brother's keeper. And I believe in that. And I'm not saying it's a bad saying, but what I'm asking is, if you're a leader, you should feel the same moral obligation to keep your crew safe as you do your children. Are you your brother's keeper? Are you saying it? Are we serious about this? Because if you're serious about it, then you do something about it. So when there's an accident, we see it all over Facebook all the time. There's an accident out there, and then there's a lot of these posts, a lot of these stickers start going up. I am my brother's keeper. But we say it, but do we mean it? Do we act on it? If we see one of our brothers in trouble and in an unsafe situation, do we help him? Do we stop it? That's an uncomfortable conversation sometimes to have, is to say, hey man, let's talk about this for a minute, because I don't really feel like there's enough cover up there, so let's talk about it. There's tactful ways to do it. You don't have to call him names. There's tactful ways to go about it. But if we're serious about this, if we're serious about saying this, then we have to act on it. We have to be intentional with what we say and what we do. So crew leaders and journeyman linemen, do you encourage less cover? Are you actively going, you don't need all that, man? What is that, a rubber tree? Come on. You're putting too much cover up there. You can't even do your work. Are you making fun of them? One of the most disappointing things that I've had in experience in my career is a friend of mine who's a good lineman was made fun of because he put more cover on a line than what others thought was appropriate. He was actually covering it correctly. He was actually doing the right thing, but he got made fun of. So what does that do to him next time he's in that situation? And we don't like getting picked on. We don't like getting made fun of. So what does that do to him? Does he go, I don't want to get picked on again. I don't want to get called a rubber tree again. So yeah, don't give me that much. Just give me 4 or 5 or whatever. Management, do you talk bad about training? Do you, because it cuts into productivity? That's the real thing. It doesn't sound like it's happening, but it is. I've witnessed it. I've seen it. And I've heard it. I've had apprentices come to class and they say things like, yeah, this is great and all, but they won't let me do this on the crew. It happens. So another part of the problem as I see it is this is some of the quotes that I have heard in my time in training. I'm only here because they have to send me. I don't care about any of this. Here's another one. My foreman said apprentices are stupid. He can teach me everything I need to know on the job site. Heard it. That's great, but they won't let me do that on my crew. And that's not how we do it where I work. Like electricity flows different at different utilities. It's not how we do it where I work. Where I work, it doesn't attack us like that. And finally, I know this is what the book says is the right way, but all it really does is slow things down. That focus on speed, that focus on getting the job done as fast as possible. Bring that back. Let's get the job done as safe as possible. So some other things I've noticed. Safety and logistical information must get to the crews, especially during storm restoration. Like I talked about before, have these big meetings and that information has to get down to the crews. Visit the crews and ask them if they know the grounding policy. Just walk up to the crew leader. Hey man, do you know the grounding policy? Do you know what we're doing? If he can't tell you, bring everybody together. This is what we're doing. And let's make sure, because that's the most important thing. It's not to make him look bad. It's to make sure everybody's on the same page. If there are communication issues between leadership, safety, training, and crews, something's got to be done to figure out that problem. And sometimes it's just a conversation. So we see these walls up like this. We see these walls in between safety. They're their own group, and we have training, and they are their group. And then we have the crews, and they are their group. And there's these walls in between them. What if we could start tearing those walls down? What if we could take that wall down between the safety group and the training group? So now they work more together. And I know there are a lot of utilities out there and a lot of organizations out there that have this. They have accomplished this, and that's great. But there's a lot that don't. So they should be a cohesive unit that communicate back and forth in between them. But then you got to get it to the crews. And I've heard things like, yes, safety guys and trainers, they're just the ones that either couldn't do the job or they were too scared to do the job. So now they've gone into training. Y'all, I had a guy say that in my presence. I've been in safety and training for 17 years. And I don't think he was directing it at me. That's his mindset. That's just and that's the mindset of a lot of the guys on the crew and on those crews at that utility is, yeah, those safety and training guys, they're not real linemen anymore. They can't do this job. They were too scared to do it. So they went into training and safety. Now they're just here to bust our butt. We got to tear down that wall. So you have the safety and the training and the crews. So maybe if safety managers or trainers would tell their why to the crews, why did I get into this? Maybe there's a little more personal interaction. Hey guys, this is why I do this. And this is what I believe. This is what I feel like is important. Then more of the crew members would start to embrace it. So if crew leaders and journeymen support and embrace the training and the safety reasons behind it, then guess who else will support it? The apprentices that are coming up, and they're listening and they're seeing these things. So then what happens is you get this wall here and it goes away. Because there's no mutual respect, there's trouble. Mutual respect between the apprentices, the journeymen, the crew leaders, the supervisors, the directors, the training professionals, the safety professionals, all those that have a part in the puzzle and pieces here, there's mutual respect there. So another quote that I like is, stay positive, work hard, and make it happen. Good friend of mine who passed away back in 2014, Jeff Cook, he was famous. His famous line was, make it happen. And that's what he lived by. We got to make it happen. So that's what I want us to do. I want us to make it happen. And every utility, every organization is a little bit different. You know the dynamics within those that you can say, okay, this is what I believe will work here. This is what I think we need to do. So let's bring these guys in, let's talk about it. Because when you have this, when you have cohesiveness between these crews, that's great. But what we really need is this. We really need management, safety, training, and the crews going both ways. Communication. All these arrows are communication. It's okay for management to talk to the crews. It's okay for safety to talk to training. And everybody can talk to everybody. Communication is important. But inclusivity, including everybody in decisions, is also important. This is one of my favorite quotes. It says, tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I'll learn. And that's what we're asking. We're asking for people to learn. We're asking for apprentices to learn this job and learn this job safely and do it safely and efficiently, because we need to get jobs done. We can't spend months and months building one single phase line. It's got to get done efficiently, and everybody wants that. So involve them. So this is my challenge to you. I've got two groups here. I've got the safety professionals, supervisors, and upper management in one group. And I've got crew leaders and crews in another group. So here's what my challenge is to management and safety professionals and upper management. Call a meeting. Call a meeting. Be prepared to listen and learn. One of the trends going around in TikTok right now is we listen and we don't judge, right? That's one of the things going around. So do that. We listen and we don't judge. Listen to their side of what's going on. Because that's one of the big breakdowns, is they feel like they're just throwing all this stuff down on us and they don't care what we do or how we do it. They just want the job done. Well, that's not the truth. The truth is they do want the job done, but they want it done with you being safe. So be prepared to listen and learn. Talk about what you can do to help them get their work done safely. Because the crews want to get it done too. So talk about that. Ask them where the roadblocks are. If you go up to a crew leader, a journeyman lineman, and you say, hey, where's the roadblocks? What's the issues? You better be ready, because he'll probably unload on you. And that's what you want to happen. And then think about how you can work together to remove those roadblocks. Ask what can be done to make training more effective. Because what we don't want to do is to have training and it have no impact on your life, have no impact on your job. It's just a waste of time. Nobody wants that. Trainers don't want that. Organizations don't want that. The crews don't want that. So we want training to be effective. And for the crew leaders, show up ready to talk. When this meeting gets called and upper management says, I want to get the crew leaders together. I want to get the journeyman linemen together. Show up ready to talk. I hear often is, well, yeah, they say that, but they don't care. Yeah, they do. And if they feel that way, make sure that you do what you can do to show them that you really do care. Listen to leadership's point of view, because there's two sides. There's their side, your side, and then there's a combination of the middle that's probably the reality of the what's going on. So listen to their side of it, because what they're doing, they may have a darn good reason for it. And if you understand it and you're involved in it, now you learn and you go, okay, I see now. I see why we have to do it that way. Work with leadership to find a balance between working safety and being productive. That's what we talked about before. Said it a couple of times. I told you I was going to say it multiple times, and I did. Find that balance. Safety, productivity, the scale can't be tipped in either direction. It has to be balanced together. Tell them where the roadblocks are when they ask. And then keep an open mind when they say, okay, we can do something about this, but this is what we're going to have to do. And that conversation between you. Embrace training and how important it is to keep everyone safe and productive. Because I really don't like hearing apprentices coming in on their first day, their first year. They've never been to apprentice class before, and they show up and they have a negative attitude about training. They weren't born with that. Somebody taught them that. So when you're on the cruise and you have these apprentices and they're going to go to training next week, talk about how important it is, how great it is. When they get back, say, hey, tell me what you learned last week. And be sincere about it. Don't say, hey, show me what you learned in your little class last week and laugh at them. Really be intentional about it. When you have a job, go, hey, apprentice, come here. All right, you just went to class about this, so let's talk through this. Let's talk about this transformer bank because you went to a banking class last week. So tell me about it. Ask them, get them involved. Make sure that they are retaining what they learned. And a question I want to ask to supervisors, general foremen, is this. Is your most productive crew also your safest crew? Think about that for a minute. When you have that job, and it's a hard job, and you know that it's going to be one of those jobs that you have to really think through because it could be unsafe, but you need to get that job done. It's pushing, it's pressing, and you go, I got this job here, and I'm going to give this job to my best crew. Is that also your safest crew? Because if the answer is no, you need to ask yourself why. So if you give that job to that crew foreman and go, hey, we need to get this job done this week. Go. And you turn your back and you're out of sight, out of mind, and you go, I don't want to hear how. I don't care how you do it, but get that done. Are you setting them up for a disaster? Because if that crew leader that you say is your best is not also your safest, you have a problem. And you need to be prepared in your heart. You need to be prepared to one day go look someone's wife and child in the eye and explain to them what happened and why their dad and their husband's not coming home. Because this job was so important, it had to get done this week. So you gave it to him, and you turned your back and you said, I don't want to hear it, how you do it, just get it done. If you have that, then you need to be prepared to talk to his wife. Because that is a moral obligation. So kind of wrapping things up here, leadership isn't just about managing tasks. It's about protecting lives and fostering a culture of trust and safety. So kind of a call to action to all my leaders out there, upper management, supervisors, Commit to listening. Learn and act to remove the roadblocks to safety. Empower crews to embrace training and prioritize safety over shortcuts. And when they're talking about doing a shortcut, go, no, don't do that. I don't care how long this takes. I want you to go home. Just get it done safely. And they will. Crew leaders, lead by example. Collaborate with your leadership. If there's a problem, go in your supervisor's office and close the door, sit down and go, we got a problem, we need to talk about it. This is what I'm seeing out there. Have it in the office conversation with the door closed and make it open and honest. Treat your crew's safety as you would your own family's well-being. I am my brother's keeper. What does that mean? It means we're family. So if you wouldn't let your family do something, don't let that crew do it. That's a moral obligation, and that's leadership's responsibility to protect. Thank you so much. Appreciate coming back. Brent, thank you for having me back again. Hope to do this again, maybe not 2 years from now, maybe a little bit sooner. So thank you so much. I'm Brandon Wiley, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.